Thank you very much for joining us, Commissioner Segerblom. What are your top pressing issues for District D?
Well, I guess the first thing is to really find out what the voters want and what the citizens want. In the campaign, I saw homeless being a big issue, neighborhood preservation and neighborhood enhancement's a big issue, transportation, particularly in the east part of the valley, is a huge issue. And my personal issue, which is marijuana, I want to make sure that we get the marijuana lounges out there as quick as possible.
Let's pick up right there. You must be the only elected official in America with a strain of marijuana named after you. You've made no bones about this, the godfather of pot. And obviously, yes, we have now made marijuana recreationally legal here in Clark County in Nevada, but for those tourists, there's really no place they can consume it. This is a top priority for you.
It really is, because it's a huge moneymaker, frankly. And I think it's going to just increase over time. And so if we need to go around the world and say, come to Las Vegas, this is a place you can consume cannabis. But you can't do that if you can't say, by the way, buy it and then use it over here or use it over there. And then the venues, the mind can only imagine what's out there. People come to me every day and say, let's do a yoga studio, let's do a jazz place, let's do whatever. So let's just get going.
People in casino land basically are saying it's kind of a parallel tracks, that marijuana consumption lounges will never be part of gaming establishments. Do you see that as being an implement, or do you think this is going to go that way?
That's actually the best thing we have going for us, is because if the hotels brought it in, then we wouldn't have to do anything at all. But without the hotels, then private industry has to step up, and we as an enabler need to help that private industry create itself. But when they say never, they don't mean never ever. They just mean that right now, because of the federal prohibition. But as soon as it goes federally legal, you'll bet the bottom dollar the hotels will bring it in, and it'll be like any other restaurant or entertainment venue. It won't probably be owned by the casino, but it'll be in their properties. They'll lease space for consumption lounges and for other avenues. Probably have dispensaries in the hotels at one point.
And finally, on this topic, Commissioner, you've also said that you'd like to see taxes further be dedicated for education. How do we go about doing that?
Well, that part is going to have to be at the state level, because that's a state issue. But just so you know, I've been in my briefing the last couple of weeks, I've learned that the Clark County makes $1 million a month in tax from marijuana, and that money's just been going into their capital fund. So that money, I think we need to allocate to homeless, perhaps. And we also only tax marijuana at half the rate we could tax it. So if we double that tax, we could have $2,000 a month that we could dedicate to homeless, maybe some arts, give each commissioner some money that they could use any way they want to in their own district. But it's new money, it's exciting money, and rather than just put it into the pot, let's try to, so to speak, no pun intended, let's use it in a way that we can generate some fun, and also let people know where the money's going.
Commissioner, you talked about the state level. The last 12 or so years, you've been a state senator and a state assemblyman. What can you bring from your experiences in Carson City to the Board of County Commissioners?
Well, first, I hope I can be used to lobby the legislature, to work with them to make sure that whatever it is our priorities are, we get those accomplished. But the other thing I think I bring is just learning to work with people, work with bureaucracies, work with other elected officials, and realize that we're all here to make the world better. You don't commit yourself to public service because you want to get rich or you want to be famous. You do it because, the bottom line, you think the government has a role in the world, and you want to be part of that, and you want to make the world better. And we all are in that same mission, so it's a question of how we can make that happen. And a lot of times it's all, we can't do this, the state law says we can't do this, or we can't do that. And I found that if you sit down and with reasonable people, there's a way around almost anything. So my goal is to say, rather than we can't do something, what do you want to do, and let's do it.
And clearly it looks like it will be a cohesive unit. I guess as we tape this today, there's 6 commissioners, and obviously you're very well acquainted with all of them. Certainly a couple of them, Commissioner Kirkpatrick and Jones, very, very well acquainted.
But I've known the other ones back when they worked at the city. I've known all of them forever. So the ones that are leaving, they're my contemporaries, and the new ones, Marilyn and Justin, I worked with in the legislature, so yeah, I know them all well.
Something I didn't realize until recently is this would be the second time you followed outgoing Commissioner Chris Kiliani. You took her assembly seat back in '07 and now are following her. You share a lot of the same visions, philosophies, and will continue to do much of the same work that she did in District E, Commissioner?
I think so. I mean, she has big shoes to fill, and so I'll try to fill those. Obviously, 12 years is a long time, and I have some different ways to go, but really, I have no complaints about what she's done. But that's the great thing about term limits. They're 12 years. When she termed out in the assembly, I stepped up and ran for that, and now she termed out, and lo and behold, I'm sitting here ready to go again. So it's really been fortunate for me.
I know environmental issues are very important to you, Commissioner. I just read recently that you're the program director of the Las Vegas Water Defenders, which is an offshoot of the Waterkeep Alliance. How will that group, what can this do to help environmental impacts along the Colorado in our system?
Our thought is we can bring kind of a new voice and new energy and new ideas. I mean, we have the Colorado River Basin Compact and the Water District, and they're all tied into history. But sometimes you just need to think outside the box, and this group can do that. For example, we're calling for getting rid of the compact and starting again, because the fact is, with the compact, it was based on erroneous information as far as how much water there is, and it also really divides the states, and it really encourages water use as opposed to discouraging water use. And the future, we live in the desert, let's face it, so we can't just be out there, you walk around here and see all these trees and things. That's just probably not going to be the future of Las Vegas. So let's start to rethink the box and come up with ideas. If they don't work, they don't work, but at least it'll be another voice talking about where Las Vegas goes, and with its limited amount of water, how we want to use it.
Commissioner, you have been outspoken against your opposition to the Las Vegas Stadium last year and the year before as it was coming on. Now it's here, and obviously the Board of County Commissioners will be forced to make some decisions as the stadium continues construction. Are you satisfied with the progress right now, and do you see anything as an attorney or as a commissioner that is kind of a red flag that you want to keep a special eye on in the future?
Well, obviously we want to make sure that once it's constructed, that they use union workers in the stadium, not just to build it, but the people that run the concessions and things. So I want to work closely with the Colorado Union to make sure that happens. And I did oppose it primarily because I felt that we shouldn't have a special session, go up there and do this for a rich individual out of San Francisco when we need to have this money we need for schools. But the reality is I lost the battle, so now I'm a big supporter. I was a statewide football player at Boulder City High School when I was growing up. I played college football. I'm a big football fan, so I love the Raiders. So ultimately I'll be very close with them, hopefully. And that stadium is going to be a lot more than football. I'll bet we end up using that stadium more than any other stadium in the country, because we bring in all these events, and that'll be a huge draw for all the hotels. So it's part and parcel of our community, and so might as well take advantage of it.
And UNLV gets a place to play too for
true.
A small amount.
So that's the other thing we need to do is work with UNLV, which is in my district, to make sure that their football team rises to the point where we can get that place packed and have fun.
We could talk a lot about transportation, but I'd like to talk to you about one specific part of it, Maryland Parkway, which has been studied on many different occasions. What is your best vision for that important north-south arterial?
Well, I haven't had a chance to look to see the financial basis for the light rail. I mean, if we've got federal money coming and can put it there, that's great. But even if we can't do a light rail, I don't see why we can't focus on electric buses, both on Maryland Parkway and also on the Flamingo, Tropicana, Sahara, Desert Inn, all those major streets which go back and forth across the valley. We have 50,000 workers on the strip, or 100,000 maybe. So let's just try to figure out a way that people can get there without having to drive and get off congestion. And also maybe have electric buses going up and down the strip too. I mean, we can reinvent the wheel here. That's the great thing about Las Vegas. We're small enough and we're fast enough that we can always change things, and so let's rethink things if we have to.
I don't know if you folks have determined your board assignments and things like that for 2019 and beyond, but would you like to be on the Regional Transportation Commission?
I would. I know that's one of the highly sought ones, so I don't know that I'll get that. I'm kind of the low person on the totem pole, but I didn't realize all the things we do sit on. It's amazing the different agencies that we either are totally in charge of or are part of. And so any of those, frankly, I would be very happy to serve on.
And finally, one decision that's probably going to happen here in the next few months is changing the name of McCarran Airport to after Senator Harry Reid. I assume I think I know where you stand on that.
Yes, I was actually, I take pride in this, came up with the idea, or at least I like to think I came up with the idea. First off, McCarran is a terrible name. He represents a different Nevada. When I grew up, Nevada was called the Mississippi of the West. We were very segregationist, just outright embarrassing to think about it, but we've moved. And now we're the most integrated, most diverse city and county in the country. And so to have McCarran, who's an open racist, that name is part of our airport. The first thing people hear about when they come to town really doesn't reflect well on our community. And we don't want kids growing up in this community then looking at the airport and saying, oh my God, I'm an Asian, or I'm an African American, or I'm a Latino, and my airport's named after somebody who thought I was inferior. So we got to get rid of that name. And then moving to Harry Reid, whatever you think about Harry Reid, he has done more for Nevada than anyone in the history of the state of Nevada. Just from top to bottom, he has revolutionized our state. And he also grew. I mean, people come to me and say, well, remember he said this, he said that. He may have said things like all of us did back when we were young, but he grew and saw what Nevada has become. And I think to honor him, and especially honor him while he's alive. I mean, we've given people names or name things after people after they die. It's like, what? Let's let them know we appreciate what they did. And he really has changed Nevada. By far, he's the most famous Nevadan ever and done more for Nevada. So I think it's a perfect combination, getting rid of McCarran's name, putting Reid's name there in place. And it'll always say Las Vegas Airport, and the code will be LAS, so it's not going to be a big deal. We're going to raise the money privately to pay for the changes, so it's not going to cost taxpayers anything. But it just seems so fitting to me. It shows where we are going in the future as opposed to living in the past.
All right. Well, thank you for spending some time with us, and appreciate you. You can get out there to work. Appreciate
Great.
it. Thank you.
Anything I can do to help you guys, and I look forward to working with you the next 4 years.